Hi, I'm Tia Cristy, and welcome to Journey to TEDx Wilmington. The event has already happened, but one of the things with a live event is that things can not go right, I guess is the way to say it. And some of our files got corrupted. And I was very saddened to find out that my dear friend Janet Hogan's file got corrupted, but her story is so remarkable. We had to do a follow-up on her TEDx because Janet, you just blew me away with your story. And I love how you said it to me that, it wasn't the final part of the story anyway. So, there was a higher power that made sure we were destined to talk again. And I just think that's beautiful. So, welcome. How are you? You look lovely.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've got to touch up my appearance on full bore, so it's been very forgiving. I think I've developed a few wrinkles in the last few weeks, but let's call it a life well lived. Yeah, living life to the full, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way. Don't worry about it. I had to watch my brother's kids. I'm like, they aged me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, but so tell me, how was it? How was it being up on that TEDx stage?
It was very symbolic because I can't think of any other situation where you are given a very set period of time in order to bring what it is you really want to say to the world and condense it down to 18 minutes or less, ideally, in a way that they will also want to listen to it. So it's really it reminded me, doing a TEDx reminded me of life's milestones: sitting for a big exam, getting your driver's license, if your first date, being proposed to. I mean, I know I'm putting it up there, but it kind of is like that. It's a rite of passage, and it takes. You're not going to stand on that stage, I don't think, unless you really feel that you've nailed whatever it is that you wish to communicate to the world.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. When I look back on my TEDx, it's really incredible. I list that as like one of the top three moments in my life of importance. And I know that it holds so much clout, just the TED umbrella anyway, but it's not overrated for sure. And wouldn't you agree? It is not overrated.
Totally, because you're condensing into one message what you as a human being stand for. And that's big. And a lot of us never reach that clarity. So I think TEDx is like a catalyst for forcing you to become clear on what is it that you stand for? What's the message you want to give to the world?
I agree. That's beautiful. I love how you said that. So give us a quick rundown, real quick. What was your talk about? Because I know what your talk was about. It was wonderful. I can't wait to see it when it comes out. But let our viewers know what were you talking about?
So I was talking about a topic that, to be honest, really annoyed me because I felt that it was this particular topic was something that wasn't available to everyone. There was just a lucky few that were able to access this particular thing. And the thing I'm talking about, even the word used to trigger me. The word being purpose, that somehow some of us are supposed to live our life on purpose, know what our purpose is, and then the majority of humans, however, kind of struggle along living lives that don't really matter. And I thought, is that fair? And if it's not fair, if it doesn't sound right, then how do we find our purpose? And why do so few of us, maybe only 20%, actually feel that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing and achieving a sense of fulfillment and making a difference in a way that's meaningful to ourselves? Only about 20% of people, and that's probably a generous figure, actually feel they've arrived at that point in their lives. And so that begged the question for me, why is that number so low? And could we raise the bar? Could we increase that number or even flip those numbers around so that 80% of people ultimately know why they're here and live that life accordingly that's true to themselves? And if we could flip those numbers around, how do we do that?
Yeah, it's remarkable. And what you do is incredible, by helping people find their purpose. I love how you talk about pain points and those fears. And instead of, you know, shoving them under the rug. You bring them to light, and that's really, the doorway to people finding this purpose. And it's
Mm.
remarkable. So what you do, I think, is an incredible talent. I mean, I'm a huge fan of yours. I just love this woman to pieces. So it's one of those things where to watch you in action and what you can do is really, really remarkable. Now with the TEDx, um, we're just gonna go right into it if you're okay with that.
Sure.
So you had talked about your mom not
Mm.
fulfilling her purpose, and she got to the point where she had dementia, and
Mm.
you said that she was in the art world, but she was always so afraid to pick up that
Mm.
paintbrush. And in the later years of her life, she finally did. And what a
Yeah.
remarkable moment that was. And you shared her artwork, which just stunning, absolutely stunning. Um, how did that feel, first off, being able to share her story?
It felt like a validation of her path because what I realize, and one of the reasons so few of us find our purpose is we're looking for it in the wrong place. So we're trained to set goals and create vision boards and try and describe our ideal life without having any idea of what that is and without realizing that um, our system, if you like, or our well, when I say system, our mind, body, soul, is geared for keeping us stuck where we are. Essentially, our mind hates change, and so instead of running towards what we think we want, what we have to do is stop, turn around, and confront that which we're running from. And that is our pain. So in my mum's case, her pain, we're talking emotional pain here, her emotional pain was anxiety, chronic anxiety, which led to worry. She used to keep a folder this thick called current worries. And she used to fill it out every day, add to it every day. And that in turn led to chronic catastrophizing. So if someone was getting on a plane, she would imagine that plane crashing, that sort of thing over and over again. You can imagine what a kind of emotional and mental prison that creates. So when we don't resolve that pain, we don't have a hope in hell of actually breaking through and living true to our purpose, our creativity, all those things that are part of living life on purpose are suppressed. So we must actually confront that pain. And here's the interesting thing. When that dementia came on for my mum, the anxiety started to subside. She was in a home, she was being cared for, she wasn't worrying about her health all the time. And as the anxiety subsided, that created space for the creativity to come to the fore. And so what she painted, although it was a landscape, uh, it captured the essence or the soul of who she was and the pain that she'd been doing battle with her entire life. So we finally got a glimpse. Mind you, it was at the 11th hour, uh, 2 months before she left us. We finally got a glimpse of who she really was. And that for me was the greatest gift of all, that a parent can give a child, is to live their life to the full. In the same way the parent wants the child to live their life to the full, we want the same for our parents. And so that's why I can talk about this from a place of peace and resolution, not so much grief.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful that you were able to really witness that, and be there, and just it's remarkable. And it's you are such a pillar of strength. I mean, I feel so emotional. You just shared the information with me. So, since TEDx, your mother has passed, and again, I am so sorry to hear that. What a beautiful soul, though, and an incredible artist. Um,
Mm.
that I think is so beautiful, though, how you had told me um, that the story wasn't over. A higher purpose
Yeah.
made sure that our file was corrupted, and we get to sit here and talk about this again. Do you mind sharing how You felt
Yeah.
it all came together?
Yeah. Well, my mum was very interested to know. So, although dementia was starting to creep in, she was still very alert in many ways. And so we had some long conversations. And the first thing she said when I met her again in Sydney, because without the TEDx, I wouldn't have done that detour to Sydney. I would have gone straight back to my home, which is in Bali. Anyway, the first thing she said was, "How did your TEDx go?" And I said, "Oh, it was great. And what did you wear?" And da 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 da. So we sat down and had a great talk about that, and we had two or three deep conversations over several hours because it was rare our opportunities to catch up. And I feel that basically she felt that was the right time for her to go. I told her that I shared her painting. She said, "Oh, really?" And she had the painting there. I'd never seen it in its original form. And she said, "I suppose it's not bad." She thought that was quite funny that I shared it in the talk. But I feel that in a funny way, we are way more powerful than we realize. And I believe that my mum chose that moment. That felt like the right moment for her to leave this physical world. And so she did. And so that set in train a whole flurry of activity of creating a celebration for her life. And something odd happened actually on the eve of the funeral. I said a prayer to mum. I said, "Mum, I really want you to be there tomorrow. This is for you. And I want your spirit to be in the room with us all. It's really important." And so that night, I had, those lucid dreams that you have just before you wake up, and they're the dreams you don't forget. They kind of stay stuck in your memory. I was walking along this road and I saw this little figure in the distance on a building site because my mum was a great home renovator. She would get out there and shovel cement and stuff. And there was this little frail figure, and I recognized it straight away. My mum, age 93, and she was wielding a sledgehammer. And she was taking the sledgehammer, wobbling, and then finally going bang into the concrete beneath her. And I was going, "Mum, what are you doing? You got your funeral on in a few hours." And then the dream ended. And as I contemplated that, I thought, yeah, what she's saying to all of us, her immediate family members, was make an impact. Don't play small. Go for it. Wield that sledgehammer, whatever that means for you. And I think she got a glimpse of it herself through her art, but that's basically what she was saying to us.
I think that's so amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, and as you were saying that, I just have to say, you shared her art on TEDx Wilmington stage, and that is that's one of the biggest stages to have your art be shown, right? I mean, it's going to be available all over the world for people to see
Yeah,
this remarkable painting that this woman who
yeah.
is holding back so much for her in her life, what a way to go out. A way to make an impact. I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing all of this story with us. It's so beautiful that you have the angle that you can share the light and the joy.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that's one thing that I've always just been so connected to you with is your
Mm.
outlook. And I just love you to pieces. I treasure you, you know that. And anybody that's watching that is contemplating, is TEDx right for me? Is this something that I should do? Was it all worth it? Let them know. Was it worth it?
Uh, Absolutely. It sounds like one of those kind of facile bucket list things you tick off. Oh, I've got to write a book, I've got to do a podcast, I've got to do a TEDx talk. It's way more than that. And you shouldn't do it if you're doing it for that reason, just because you want to boost your exposure. It has to come from the heart. It has to be something that you feel passionate that you want to talk about. It has to be, as the tagline goes, it has to be an idea worth sharing. And if you know what that is, then go for it. because it's probably, I believe, the most impactful way that you can get your message out there. Let's face it, a book is great. It's a great credibility piece, but you have no control over how someone reads that book. They might read it after they've had 3 glasses of wine, might just skip through right to the end, which is what I catch myself doing sometimes. So with the TEDx, they have no choice really but to see it as it is supposed to be seen and consume it that way. So you have a lot more control, in a sense, over how you present that message. It's all up to you. And all I would say is rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. You don't sound scripted when you rehearse. Actually, it gives you the confidence to show up just as yourself. Whereas if you don't rehearse, that's where things can go wrong. So you have to take it seriously. You have to really invest your time in it, that it's well worth it if you fully commit.
Absolutely. And you brought up very good points. It is a gift that you're giving to the world. It's not about receiving, and it's wonderful, the things that can come from a TEDx, but it's a very selfless act to get up there on that stage and share your story with the world. And you did such a beautiful job. Like I said, I can't wait to see it. I heard everybody was just, throughout the whole day, everybody was Janet Hogan. Oh my gosh, her talk was amazing. So, that is something I encourage everybody to look out for, because it will be coming out soon. And the rehearsing, the having the community, your community to help support you is super important. And yeah, it's not a journey that you do alone. It's something that
No,
it takes a village.
yeah. That's the other thing I think is really worth noting, because there are TEDx's and there are TEDx's. Like they have one in Bali, for example, but a totally different thing. You just go on stage, say your piece, and then you're off. There's nothing really leading up to it. There's nothing, no follow up. TEDx Wilmington is totally different. Even the city of Wilmington reflects that. It's a fairly small community. It's only about 40,000 actual residents, isn't it? So you sense that feeling of everyone kind of knows each other. And definitely that's reflected in TEDx Wilmington, that you've got incredible support. It becomes like a family of cheerleaders who are cheering you on and you're cheering them on. So it's not just about you, it's about the whole sense of connection and collaboration that it gives you. And that's very important, and probably what no one would understand until they've actually given a TEDx, and then they totally get that. But if you haven't, just bear that in mind, that if you've got that support, and Tia, you were terrific helping me as well, go through, how many iterations of my draft did we do? I think it was 33 in the end.
And we were in the 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were there for every one of them. So you were amazing. And I think also making sure that I, for one, didn't get too intellectual, that you kept it real, human, So it's very hard to create something like this that is so complex on your own. In fact, it's probably impossible without, real feedback. That's really, really, really important.
Yes. And I do want to note there was not a single bad draft that Janet gave, not a single one. They were all remarkable. But yeah, it's a fine balance. It's a dance of educating, having that scientific proof. Those citations, they're super important, but also it's your story, you're the authority on it, so keeping that human side and connecting. And my goodness, my dear, from what I seen, you blew it out of the water. So I am just so proud of you. And I am so honored that I was able to go on this journey with you. And what a remarkable story you have. And just the fact that the story continued even after TEDx
Mm.
Wilmington. And I know that it will continue for the rest of your life. It's that's just the way TEDx works. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
So thank you so much.
absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, Tia.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we'll wrap it up with I'm Tia Cristy. This is Janet Hogan. Janet, do you have websites that you want to share, contact info? Let people know how to get a hold of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So it's simply janethogan.com. That will help you find your way to the work that I do. And there is actually a quiz on that site. If you're interested in the whole concept of emotional pain points as a way into your purpose. So, working through the pain, not avoiding it, there's a quiz where you can actually isolate your top three, and that'll give you some clarity, even if you don't do anything else, just being able to name those pains. My mum, I think, got great comfort from being able to name and talk about her anxiety, her worry, her catastrophization. She said, I feel so ashamed to talk about, to even share that I catastrophize. But of course, once you can talk about it, once you can name it, some of that shame starts to disappear. And that's really, really important. That's the first stage of healing.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful what you do. And I was so surprised at my three when I did the quiz, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that all of that was holding me back. Holding me back is the right way to
Yes.
say it. So I think you're a genius in what you do. And after me personally, after working with you, and not that this is a plug, but I highly do recommend Janet. It was really awesome. So thank you for what you do, and how you are making a positive impact in the world. Yes.
Thank you, Tia. And I'm very, very grateful for all the support you gave me. Yeah, if you're listening to this, just do know, don't try and do it on your own. That's a mistake. Collaboration is the way to go. And that's what will really boost you to a whole new height.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Tia Cristy, Janet Hogan. This is Journey to TEDx Wilmington. And so thank you so much for joining us. And we'll have more videos coming up soon.